Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to drain and refill the automatic transmission fluid on a 2004 Lexus GS 300. The process is similar for any car with an A650E ASIN automatic transmission, such as the first generation automatic Lexus IS 300, any second generation Lexus GS 300, or certain model years of the first generation Lexus SC 400. For a complete list of compatible Toyota and Lexus vehicles, please see the video description below. Before we go ahead with this video, I just want to clarify that this is only a partial drain and refill of the fluid in the transmission. It is not possible to get all the old fluid out of the transmission without a pump, which is commonly referred to as a fluid flush. Lexus does not recommend a transmission fluid flush at any point during the life of the vehicle. So if the transmission fluid in your car looks pretty dark, or you're not sure when it was last changed, I would suggest doing this procedure 2 to 3 times around 100 miles apart. This will get most of the old fluid out of the transmission. Once you've gotten most of the old fluid out by doing this, you can perform this service every 30,000 miles or so to keep the transmission fluid fresh. The tools you'll be needing are a ratchet with a 14mm socket, a long-nosed funnel, a torque wrench, a measuring container with a capacity of at least 2.5 quarts, a pair of gloves, and some paper towels. The parts you'll be needing are 3 quarts of Toyota automatic transmission fluid type 4, and a crushed washer for the drain plug. The jacking point for the car is located just behind the oil pan on the cross member. You can place the jack stands under the frame rails on both sides as shown in the pictures. Now we can go ahead and jack the car up. Once the car is safely on jack stands, raise the jack again so that it meets the jacking point but does not lift the car up. This will serve as an additional safety measure in case your jack stands fail. Now we can go ahead and start draining the transmission fluid. The drain plug is located on the driver's side of the car behind the jacking point. Slide your measuring container under the drain plug so we can measure how much fluid we drain out of the transmission. The plug takes a 14mm socket. Break the drain plug loose with the ratchet. Remove the drain plug and let the fluid drain into the measuring container. When you remove the drain plug, make sure that the old crush washer comes off and you remove it from the drain plug. Now we can go ahead and install the new crush washer on the drain plug. Make sure that the pointed side of the crush washer points upwards while putting it on. Clean off the drain hole area with a paper towel and then hand tighten the drain plug. Now we will torque the drain plug to spec. It needs to be torqued to 15 foot-pounds. Wipe off any excess transmission fluid with a paper towel. Now we can go ahead and lower the car back to the ground. Now that the car is back on level ground, we can move on to refilling the transmission fluid. As you can see from our measuring container, we drain approximately 2.6 quarts of fluid from the transmission. We can refill the transmission fluid through the transmission fluid dipstick located under the hood. Remove the dipstick and position the long nose funnel carefully so that there is no space for the fluid to leak out while pouring it in. We will start off with 2.3 quarts of fluid and then top off depending on the level on the dipstick. This is the best way to avoid accidental overfilling as the transmission is very sensitive to fluid levels. Once you're done pouring in, clean off the dipstick area with a paper towel and then check under the transmission pan under the car for any leaks. Before we go ahead and start the car, here is how to interpret the transmission fluid levels using the dipstick. There are 2 areas on the transmission fluid dipstick marked cool and hot. The fluid level will be in the cool area if the car was turned on recently and the fluid is still cold. If the fluid is at normal operating temperature, which is usually achieved by driving the car for 15 to 20 minutes, then the fluid level should be in the area marked hot. The transmission fluid level needs to be checked when the car is running and in park. So we will go ahead and turn it on. Shift the car slowly through the gears to circulate the new fluid through the transmission. We can now go and check the transmission fluid level on the dipstick. As you can see, the fluid level is in the area marked cool. Keep in mind, however, that this is not a reliable indicator of the optimal level of transmission fluid in the car. It does, however, tell us that we have enough transmission fluid to drive the car to get it up to operating temperature, then check the transmission fluid level on the dipstick and top it off accordingly. Now we can go ahead and take the car on a drive. Make sure to drive the car for at least 15 to 20 minutes, otherwise the fluid will not be hot enough and your dipstick reading will be off. Now we can check our transmission fluid level on the dipstick. As you can see, we are a little short of the hot area. We'll go ahead and add 0.25 quarts of transmission fluid to see if that gets us to the right level. After adding the fluid, shift the car through the gears again and then check the fluid level on the dipstick. As you can see, the fluid level is now in the area marked hot and we are good to go. So that brings us to the end of this video. If you found it helpful, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below as I make new videos every week. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.